What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. We are live, and today we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive. We're going to analyze some updates with the Jon Moxley Tony Khan lawsuit. You guys might see the title. It says, "What is Tony Khan hiding?" A further look into who really owns AEW, and I think that's like a really interesting thing. So, because I don't know, it's kind of become this weird thing on the internet. Like, who actually owns AEW? I don't know why it's not really being talked about, why it's even a big deal in the slightest, but for some reason it is. And I want to talk about it. I found it to be really interesting. I figured we'd go live. If you guys want to support the chat, support the channel, support the movement, support the community, and all that good stuff, there's a couple ways of doing that. You guys can obviously click like, which is free. You guys can drop a super chat. You guys can do all of that. But I find this to be a really interesting topic. And I know normally we're kind of like just reviewing and shooting the shit and bullshit and whatever. And yeah, we'll probably get to that in a little bit. But I don't know. I woke up today and I see Brandon Thurston has some huge updates on the AEW lawsuit. I got my news video out this morning. And I spoke about it a little bit. But dude, this is one of those things that like you need to genuinely like dive deep into, and that's kind of what I want to do. So Tony Khan is clearly hiding something. They're being secretive about it, and I'm not sure why. And of course, if you guys have any questions or anything you guys want, answered, feel free to drop a super chat. That's always appreciated. Really, really interesting. Shout out to Darth Bane. Shout out to Justin Kennington. Shout out to Pee-wee. I appreciate you guys coming through. I see you guys in the chat. We got quite a few people joining us, and obviously it's going to take a little bit of time, and this is just like one of those conversations. This is one of those live streams that there's absolutely no structure to. But I'm going to show you guys my screen in a little bit. We'll kind of... excuse me. We'll kind of break it down and see what's going on there. But yeah, I'm not sure what the hell is going on. Listen, I don't know what it is about AEW and why it's such a secret as far as who owns the company. And that's really what it is like, for whatever reason, there is this weird quietness about it. And AEW has been quiet about it for a long time, which is like, now people are going to start coming up with conspiracy theories on it. People are going to start, they're going to start coming up with conspiracy theories. They're going to start talking about it and just, I don't know. I don't think it's a good look for AEW. But it's like a weird thing because it's not that big of a deal. Like, what are they trying to hide? So I'm going to show you guys. This is the stuff we're focused on today, because Brandon Thurston has come out, and Brandon Thurston tends to, as he says in his own words, reports business data on legal. He represents WrestleNomics, which is cool. And then we have the lawsuit right there. So I'm going to show you guys that in just a second. Some shout outs. Shout out to Kirk. Shout out to Kirk. Shout out to Rick. Shout out to Troy, Dark Shadow, Boris. Boris in the chat says Beatnik owns AEW. We do know this. We know that Beatnik Investments LLC is the entity that controls AEW, and that is true. But why aren't they telling who is involved in that? Why are they so quiet on that? The thing that's interesting about that, though, just so you have a clear idea of what's actually going on, is that legally AEW is choosing not to divulge that information. That's why this has become such a topic. And that's why I wanted to look into it. I really want to kind of discuss this, and I'll show you guys the tweets and stuff like that, and obviously that's a big deal. DRecTube dropped a $2 super chat. He says, I think Cross will be part of Unreal next year. Yeah, I agree. I think whatever is going on with Karrion Kross will in fact be part of WWE Unreal. 1,000,000%. So, shout out to D-Rec too for the super chat. Appreciate you, bro. David Valentine says AEW is a privately held company. They are. However, the court system is asking them to reveal it, and they're choosing not to. So that's kind of the thing that's become interesting here, is that they're choosing not to divulge that information. And why would you not choose to divulge that information? Like, why is it that big of a deal as far as who owns your company? So there's this tweet that comes out from Brandon Thurston. He says, AEW today says it won't file an unredacted version of its filing that would disclose the trustees and beneficiaries behind Beatnik Investments, LLC, the entity that controls AEW. The judge said he would remand this back to state court if AEW didn't close. So basically what's actually happened here is there's this lawsuit against Jon Moxley and All Elite Wrestling. And with this lawsuit, AEW, I guess they're trying to take it out of district court in Michigan, trying to take it to federal court or something like that. And then essentially federal court is like, hey, like, we need this information before you can do so. That's what I'm gathering from this particular situation. But there's something weird about this. So we're going to talk about it. Definitely some secrecy there. I don't know why. And at any point in time, if you guys want to support the channel, please feel free to click that like button. No, fuck that. Go ahead and click like on the stream. Come on, chat. Like the stream. Let's get those numbers up. We got 100-something people in here right now. Go ahead and like the stream. And if you guys want to become a member, if you guys want to support the channel, memberships and super chats are always appreciated. Not required, but feel free to do so. I will. You know, right now we're taking a look into this. Who knows where the conversation spirals? But we got to talk about this. So let's get into it. Tony Khan and AEW are clearly hiding something. It's very weird. I don't know why they don't want people to know who actually owns the company, but for some reason they don't want people to know who actually owns the company. We've seen this throughout media scrums. Tony Khan's been very quiet about it. Now with the lawsuit with Jon Moxley and Tony Khan, AEW is not filing a unredacted version of its filing that would disclose the trustees and beneficiaries behind Beatnik Investments, LLC, the entity that controls AEW. The judge said he would remand this back to state court if AEW didn't disclose. So basically what's happening here is legally AEW is being asked to reveal who owns AEW or who is part of Beatnik Investments, and they're not doing it. And what's really happening here is that a lot of people are coming up with conspiracies as to what is Tony Khan hiding. Now, I have been under the belief my entire life since AEW's been around that the company was mostly owned by Tony and Shad Khan, right? And then there would be like a minority ownership, very, very small percentage from Warner Bros. Discovery. But for whatever reason, Tony Khan and AEW do not want to disclose this. And we don't know why. And it makes no sense. You guys see that? They are a privately owned company, but still. Brandon Thurston says, plain English, to litigate this in federal court as AEW wanted to, they must establish that all parties are from different states. To do this, the judge wants them to disclose the citizenship of the people who own the entity, Beatnik, that owns and controls AEW. So AEW just simply is not revealing it. Brandon Thurston goes on to say, AEW says those people are from Illinois, where the Khans are originally from, but they only want to provide supporting information under seal. The judge isn't satisfied with that and told them if they want this in federal court, they have to file it publicly. AEW has refused. So Brandon Thurston says this is probably going to this is probably going back to state court. No, this would not disclose anything about WBD's possible ownership, as it would disclose Beatnik's ownership, not AEW's. Why AEW is being secretive about this information is unclear. This will probably only fuel conspiracy theories. So again, what is AEW trying to hide? It's a very fascinating story, honestly. when you look at what is happening here, it's like, why would you not disclose it? So basically what I think is going to end up happening is the person who is suing, which is Christopher Francis Dispenza, he probably would, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I feel like if you're looking at this situation and AEW wants to take it to federal court and it's not going to federal court, I almost just feel as if maybe Tony Khan and AEW are willing to pay out millions or something to potentially settle the case, which is an interesting choice. Dark Shadow, I'm just gonna be honest. I feel like you remind me a lot of I think Dark Shadow's starting to remind me a lot of Peter Rocks. Huh. Hard to take you serious in the chat though. To sit there and say that it doesn't matter, who cares? It clearly does matter if you're hiding something, right? If you're a private company, that's fine, but to not disclose who owns the company is kind of strange. And I think Brandon Thurston is 100% right in that tweet. Like, this is going to fuel conspiracy theories. So what is AEW trying to hide? What kind of business are they running? You know what I mean? Let's take a look at something really quick. Who owns Beatnik Investments LLC? Beatnik Investments LLC is owned by the Khan family, specifically Tony and his sister Shayna are listed as the authorized members of Beatnik Investments LLC. The company is also associated with Shahid Khan, the billionaire owner of Jacksonville Jaguars and the father of Tony and Shayna. It's worth noting that while the authorized members are known, the specific details of the trust controlling Beatnik LLC have been subject of some legal proceedings and attempts by AEW, a company owned, to keep them private. So that's interesting. Why would it? What are they hiding, bro? I guess I really don't know. Watch, the McMahons are on the board for Beatnik. That would be quite the story, huh? Let's see. Does Warner Bros. Discovery own AEW? No, Warner Bros. Discovery does not own All Elite Wrestling. AEW is owned and operated by Shahid Khan and Tony Khan, with Tony Khan serving as president and CEO, while AEW has a media rights deal with Warner Bros. Discovery, allowing their shows to air on their channels and streaming service. Warner Bros. Discovery does not hold ownership of AEW. I don't know if I believe that, but I've never believed that. I always believed part of AEW getting their TV deal with Warner was part of WBD potentially having a small percentage. And when you think about it, under 10% would make a lot of sense based on Tony Khan's answers at the media scrums, which, again, isn't that big of a deal at all. I don't think so. But look at this. When you literally just search, does blank own AEW, you have, does WWE own AEW? Does Cody Rhodes own AEW? Does Shane McMahon own AEW? Does Cody Rhodes still own AEW? Does Vince McMahon own AEW? Let's see what this says. No. So it's a fascinating story, man. Some people are speculating in the chat that maybe Shane McMahon is part of it. Does Dave Meltzer own AEW? I mean, it would. What? What is this? Hold on. There's a Reddit. Dave Meltzer is rumored to own 3% of AEW. Hold on. I want to get the audio on this.
Owned secretly 3% equity in AEW. Dave, do you have that clip, or am I imagining things? Here it is. Now, I don't know Jim Anderson. He may just be some goof that's looking for credibility and attention.
What?
Just like Dave.
I've never seen this
before.
But
and I'm not saying I believe this. In fact, I find it really hard to believe, and I responded accordingly. But I'm going to read it in case you're busy driving or working and you can't take the time to take a look at this. It says, "It was revealed to me this morning from a very reliable source in AEW that Dave Meltzer secretly," now this is in quotes, "that secretly owns a 3% stake in the company. An email was accidentally sent to Dave by a third party, hence revealing this information," unquote. And then it has Brandon Thurston WrestleNomics as the attributing source.
Okay, so I don't know if this is real or not, but that came 10 months ago. That was on Reddit. I don't use Reddit, and I don't watch Eric Bischoff's content, but that is a fascinating thing. I see we have somebody in the chat saying, "You can hate AEW and Tony Khan all you want, but you keep supporting Brock Lesnar and WWE." Well, I appreciate you for being the moral police, Linford. I've noticed that you tend to only show up to speak negatively. There's nothing in this stream that is actually anti-AEW. So I know you probably don't have the brain capacity to understand that, and that's fine. But I don't hate AEW. I don't support the actions of Brock Lesnar. And I'm not the fucking moral police. And if you want to be the moral police, I highly suggest you just log off the internet, my boy. Deadass. Just quite frankly, I notice you tend to show up and say these kind of things, and I don't know, man. Maybe you feel good about yourself after, and honestly, God bless you. I'm happy for you. But if you don't have the brain capacity to understand that I am seriously interested in finding out more about this topic, yeah. If that upsets you or something, I don't know. But I will say shout out to the IWC, because what really matters to the IWC is the tribalism aspect. They actually don't care about the sex trafficking reports. They don't care about the allegations and stuff. What they care about is what company looks better or worse. Which I just really love the fact that you guys actually care about humans, but you know, and it's clearly fucking sarcasm, because I know you guys. I know when you guys come around with this kind of shit, I know that's kind of the stuff that you guys are aiming for. You guys want the tribalism aspect to everything. But the reality is it's not about tribalism. I think it doesn't take I think it takes a lot of, you know, if you go on Twitter, honestly, like I'm just being honest, if you go on Twitter, you have a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, WWE has Brock Lesnar and AEW has Darby Allin." And it's like, bro, what's wrong is wrong. If you can't tell the difference between that, I mean, you're just a shitty human being. But that's fine. I do appreciate you coming in and giving me the views, though, because that's very nice of you. Yeah, my interest, chat, is to know, why is Tony Khan hiding it? It's a fascinating story, because it's nothing worth hiding. Whoever owns it, whoever is part of the ownership, doesn't matter. It doesn't affect anything. It's not a big deal in the slightest. So that's why I don't really understand what's going on with it, or why it's becoming a thing. But as Brandon Thurston said in his tweet, it's going to fuel conspiracies, which is true. It is definitely going to fuel conspiracies. I mean, if you look, if you look at the screen, like, the judge wants them to disclose the citizenship of the people who own the entity Beatnik, and for whatever reason, Tony Khan and them don't want to do it. Like, isn't that interesting to people? To me, it's interesting. I think it's interesting. We know who owns TKO. We know it's Endeavor. We know that stuff. I just think it's a fascinating topic to know why it's so interesting. Why it's so interesting. Excuse me. I am curious about the topic because of the fact that I don't think it's that big of a deal to reveal it. Even if it came out that Vince McMahon owned AEW, you know. But I think the reason why it's so funny, the tribalism aspect into all of this, the reason why I find the tribalism aspect to all of this is because you do have a lot of people bringing up the Janelle Grant story. But again, it's only being brought up to fuel tribalism and like this wrestling war. Unfortunately, the people who are talking about the Janelle Grant lawsuit so much, so heavily, these are the people that are actually still live tweeting WWE. And that's why I said you should be very careful trying to be the moral police, because if your stance is so strong about Janelle Grant and WWE, then you shouldn't be watching WWE. You shouldn't be participating in WWE content, and you shouldn't be buying merchandise and all of these things. And I think that's the funny part about this is there's a lot of people who have come out to talk so strongly about it, but for some reason, when it comes to actual everyday WWE, they're still watching. So again, if you want to be moral police, you got to be consistent. But it's just funny how that works. People using sex trafficking allegations to push a narrative for tribalism. It's not hard. It's actually not difficult at all. You can be, you can have this this belief that Brock Lesnar or Vince McMahon or whoever, you can be against them based on allegations, or you could just wait for the facts to come out. But if you have to pick a side on everything, of course, it's just ridiculous. But look, if you go on social media right now, I'm looking at a lawsuit thing for AEW and trying to just figure that out, I guess. And it's so funny how talking about this has prompted people to be in the chat and say, "Oh my God, you're anti-AEW," because I'm personally fascinated by the fact that there is a story. There is a story that surrounds AEW, like who owns AEW, and the thing that's so crazy about it, I guess we could just kind of talk about it because this is a random ass live stream and we're just bullshitting, but doesn't anybody else find it crazy that like everybody typically just wants to enjoy their wrestling and just kind of enjoy the things they're interested in, but there's always people out there trying to stop them from that? I don't know. I find that kind of crazy. It's like, I'm a miserable fuck in my life, so I want you to be miserable too. Because it's not fair for me to be miserable and then you not being miserable. So fuck off. Like, that's crazy to me, bro. That's crazy. I'm just saying it's very, very difficult in general to be moral police for a lot of stuff, because when you start doing extensive research on where your phone comes from, where the batteries come from, where your clothes come from, where all of your technology comes from, it's like you want to pick and choose. That's kind of bad. You got to be pretty damn consistent with your morals and beliefs if that's why you're talking about it. And listen, if you look at the Janelle Grant lawsuit, it's fucking terrible. There's nothing about the Janelle Grant lawsuit that's enjoyable. Nothing about it that's there's nothing about it that's exciting or anything that's cool. There's nothing. They're fucking serious allegations, bro. That's not shit to joke about. And I don't know why people do joke about it. Nobody sits here and I think any person with brain cells, like any person genuinely who has brain cells doesn't sit here and go, "Oh my God, bro, I fucking love Vince McMahon. Dude, who gives a fuck about Janelle Grant?" No, any person with brain cells would be like, "Dude, if this is true, this is fucking disgusting and horrific." But to sit there and talk about, you have to look at what's illegal and what's ethically and morally wrong. So I always talked about it with the YouTube channel when I cover lawsuits. It's like, I'm not a fucking lawyer, bro. I'm not a lawyer. You know, cancel culture wants to go after people cheating on their wife. Dude, I'm strongly against cheating. I'm strongly against divorce. Celebrities seem to do this shit every single fucking day. I don't align with those values. You know what I mean? But people get canceled. That's a problem. And then when you have people allegedly doing sex trafficking, that's clearly wrong. And I oppose that. You know what I mean? But it's just like, it just kind of, I don't know. Like, I don't know what it is about with wrestling fans. It's like they just want to pick and choose what they're upset about. And that's fine. But I've said it a million times. I dislike Vince McMahon. I don't think Vince McMahon is a great booker. I don't think Vince McMahon was always a great booker. I think he had good stuff from time to time. I don't think he was a great booker. Doesn't change how incredibly smart he was. Vince McMahon was incredibly smart, and I think when you look at how smart Vince McMahon was, that's obviously why he got the wrestling industry to where it was and to where it is. But I'm anti-sex trafficking, obviously. So if that's true, and if Vince McMahon did what was allegedly said, then, and it was non-consensual and all that stuff, yeah, of course, I don't condone it. Am I going to sit there and jump on the train and be like, oh my God, Vince McMahon, guilty, guilty, guilty? No, there's a lawsuit currently playing out. So what do you say to the people that say she paid for it and was both consensual? Don't know 100%, but I think I don't know, bro. I'm not a lawyer. I don't really know. When you look at all the details of the lawsuit, you know, there's text messages that are pretty disgusting. Are those text messages real? I don't know. You know what I mean? But if it's consensual, if whatever, I don't know. That's for the court to figure out. My job is not to figure out the public opinion of things or to join in on the public opinion of things. I'll let the court system tell me what actually happened and go from there. But that's why I've always said there's serious allegations and they're disgusting allegations. And it's probably like one of those situations where maybe it settles out of court, whatever. I don't know. But just because there's a lawsuit doesn't mean it's 100% accurate, you know? Because I like even with this thing with the John Moxley stuff, and dude, they're two totally different lawsuits. But just because there's a lawsuit doesn't mean, oh my God, John Moxley and Tony Khan are immediately guilty. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean that. People have this like desire to have a strong opinion on something without the facts, and I think that's kind of the sad part, honestly. Because when you look at it like that, it's like I was saying in the beginning of the stream, like who really owns AEW doesn't really matter. I think it's a fascinating story because I don't know why it's being talked about, why it's not being talked about. You know. So that's why I find it to be a very fascinating, like, it's something that intrigues me for sure. But it's not a fucking big deal. And the thing is, like, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a YouTuber, bro. And I talk about the things that interest me. So when I see AEW and I see what they're doing, like, bro, like, I have never, ever, by the way, like, I have never seen this in my life, this clip.
Again, information.
With Eric Bischoff, you know. I have never seen this clip in my life. Never. Never in my life have I seen this clip. But it's fascinating. You guys don't think it's fascinating? What if Dave Meltzer, like... What if Dave Meltzer really owned 3% of AEW? Wouldn't that be kind of fun? I don't know. Dark Shadow says Eazy-E hates AEW. Sure, what the fuck does that comment have to do? What does that have to do with Dave Meltzer being rumored to own 3% of AEW from a video of 10 fucking months ago? Eric Bischoff hates AEW, and he's reading a fucking tweet from Brandon, a thing from Brandon Thurston. If that's true, it's true. I think it's phony as hell, but I've never seen this before. I find it interesting. You know what I mean? It's silly, bro. Like, of course Eric Bischoff hates AEW. Sure he does. Okay, I don't care. I don't care who hates AEW. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. And listen, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like, this is the truth. I don't know what it is about you guys who get really upset about somebody not liking the same thing as you. Doesn't matter. Even if somebody's biased. If WWE paid me $5 million a year to talk positively about WWE, for example, nothing to do with AEW. But if WWE paid me $5 million to talk positively about AEW, which I would never take, by the way. I would never do this. This is hypothetical. Why would you guys fucking care? You don't have to watch Ango. I don't know. It's like watching the news in 2025. I don't watch major news programs. I don't watch Fox, CNN, Newsmax, this, that. I don't watch any of it. You know why I don't watch any of it? Because I simply don't care. I think all of them have a little bit of a bias towards whatever political party or whatever the fuck they're talking about. Personally speaking, I don't really care about that shit. So I go, I only go and seek from what I want to seek. I don't really need to go to those places. And I'm just saying hypothetically, I would never take money from WWE to talk positively about them. But it's like, even if somebody did, why do you guys care? You're not forced to watch people. You're not forced to watch WWE. You are not forced to watch AEW. You're not forced to watch Ango. Nobody's putting a fucking weapon to your head and saying, oh my God, you have to watch this. It's not happening, bro. You know what I mean? I think we just have literally gotten to the point where it's like, it's actually getting annoying. By the way, it turns people off. With the IWC, it turns people off, man. Like, people are, a 5-star general says Dave gives every AEW match 20 stars. Yeah, sure, he could. Who cares? I don't know. I don't really care about Dave Meltzer's star ratings. I never have. I never cared about it. I think any person who actually does is a loser. I think if you're a wrestler, this is a hot take. And I genuinely believe this, bro. Like, this is the craziest part. I think any wrestler who cares about Dave Meltzer's star rating system is honestly a joke. I do not think you take your craft seriously. Like, I don't know why any other person in this world would put their value in what another person thinks of them. I just don't see it. I don't understand it. I never have, and I probably never will. Because Dave Meltzer has a star rating system, and he's a respected journalist. It doesn't matter. Dave Meltzer is just one human being. What matters is the paying customers. And it's so strange because the IWC puts so much stock into the star rating system, and it's like, sure, if you agree with it, you can agree with it. But like, wrestlers who actually care about that, I don't take them serious. I think if you're a wrestler and you care so much, it's like Hollywood actors too. Like, why would you care about what fucking Rotten Tomatoes is saying about your movie? What you should care about is what the paying consumers think about your movie. Right? Like, that's what matters. And at the end of the day, it's like, so many people put a stock into Dave Meltzer on this kind of thing. It's like, for what reason? For what reason? Biased or unbiased, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't mean anything. I would never want a wrestler to sit here and be like, oh my God, I'm a shitty wrestler because Ango said so. No, man. Like, what the hell? It's just wild, bro. It's so wild to me. I think Lloyd put a really good chat in the chat. Lloyd said if it came out that Dave Meltzer owned any percentage of AEW, would kill the Wrestling Observer. Yeah, I would. Trevon Womack said, star ratings is like Grammys. I don't give a damn if a singer doesn't have a Grammy. I like them just as much as somebody who won 10 Grammys. Same with Kurt Angle, never got a 5-star match. Wait, Kurt Angle never got a 5-star match from Dave Meltzer? That's kind of crazy, I swear. I never knew that. But, like, that doesn't matter, because in my mind, Kurt Angle has a million 5-star matches. So, that's one of those things, dude. I don't get it. I don't get it, but I mean, it's true. We are in a stage where, okay, so Okada has 20. Bro, I'm not discrediting Okada. I'm not discrediting anything like that, but I do think to a certain extent, like, when are people going to realize, like, it just simply doesn't matter? I remember, what was that reality show? AEW had that reality show at one time where it was Britt Baker was talking about trying to get a 5-star rating or something. Like, to me, I thought that was garbage, bro. I thought that was shit. I thought that was dumb as hell because, bro, if you're sitting there really chasing another man's validation in professional wrestling, I don't care, bro. Does anybody realize how fucking stupid it is for Hollywood to have critics? Does anybody realize how stupid it is? I have had wrestlers come to me and literally tell me, like, yo, I like your content. I don't agree with everything. No problem, dude. I don't need you to agree with everything. I don't want you to agree with everything. I don't want you to see things the way I see things. I want you to have your own opinion and your own values and your own way of seeing things. I have 84,400 something subscribers, bro. 84,400 subscribers. Please, if I say a wrestling match, if I say I didn't enjoy a wrestling match, please don't ever use that as a way to say I'm not going to watch that wrestling match. Go and watch the wrestling match that interests you, bro. I don't have interest in trying to deter people from watching something or not watching something. That's why it's so funny when people tell me, they're like, oh, Ango does media. Ango, no. I literally just react to news stories and give my opinion on things. Some of you guys like it. Some of you don't. That's okay. I'm not asking you to like it. I laugh. I specifically do laugh when people are like, yo. Like, personally, I laugh a lot. I'm not going to lie. I laugh a lot when people get mad at me because they're like, oh, you're biased. Like, okay, sure. If I'm biased, where's the fucking value? Where's the benefits for being biased? It's not public opinion, because I don't thrive off of public opinion. And no matter what public opinion you have, you live in a society where no matter what side you pick, you're wrong, because the other side is just going to dump you anyways. Dude, people don't realize I started my YouTube channel as a way for me to document my feelings towards wrestling and stuff like that. So, personally speaking, I don't really care to get invested in all the hoopla bullshit. That's where I think professional wrestling has gone really down the hill. I think a lot of people truly put themselves on a pedestal like their opinion matters. I have never done that. My fantasy booking could be right. My fantasy booking could be wrong. To me, it's never mattered. Like, it never has. If it happens, it happens. It doesn't, it doesn't. But I just love professional wrestling. I love to talk about it. So that's why it's like, when there's critics that are involved in, like, Hollywood and shit, like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand that. Like, catering to critics. Like, who the fuck put these people in as critics? You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, where does this stem from? Where does it actually stem from? And this live stream is all over the place, but honestly, I like that. I think that's how most of these live streams are going to go. I like this kind of shit. I love this a lot more than a lot of the other stuff, to be honest. Because we could just kind of shoot the shit and talk and bullshit and whatever. Would I ever start a wrestling company? 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. And this is where my ego gets in the way, but I feel like if I started a wrestling company, I would fucking kill it. I genuinely have the belief that I would fucking kill it as a booker. Like, I know it sounds crazy. I'm sure everybody in the IWC feels this way. Oh, I could book a better show. I feel like I understand the audience so well that my wrestling show would be so well-rounded. It would cater to your hardcore sickos and your casual audience in a way that would grow business. which, by the way, from a business perspective, I would really try to lean more towards the casual audience. But I genuinely believe I would be good at running a wrestling company. And maybe that's like a thing that I'll get laughed at on social media for saying. But I honestly, I wouldn't. I'm not lying about that. I genuinely believe in my heart I would be a really good owner of a wrestling company. I genuinely believe that. I think there's just too much. There's too much. I have a lot of business expertise. So I have a lot of business expertise. I also have some experience in the wrestling industry as well, which is kind of fun to think about. But I feel as if I would be great at it. So if I would start a wrestling company, I would. But I would do wrestling much more different than how WWE and AEW do it. That's the beauty of it. I genuinely believe like wrestling, the way wrestling is envisioned today is completely different than the way I would do it. So that's why I feel like I would be really good at it. It's hard to book a show. It's more than matchmaking and storylines. Yeah, I'm talking about actually running the company. From a matchmaking and booking perspective, I don't think that really matters. I think for my perspective of how I would do things is what would matter. But you need capital, bro. You need capital. You need there's a reason why people in the wrestling business fail. It's because they don't have money and they're not smart. I'm smart, but I don't have the money. Yes, Nats fan, I did. I absolutely did. So that's the thing, though. I did do that, but I also have real life experience, especially as leadership. So when you cater and pander to people, you fail. Just so you guys know, that's where you fail. When you cater and pander to people, you fail. Business people that are successful don't really give a fuck about people, and they don't really give a fuck about other shit. They care about business. By the way, that's 99.9999999% of every business out there. There's not a business, just so you guys are aware, there is literally not a business that exists that actually cares about the people, that actually cares about their employees. I promise you, there is not an actual company. You might think so, but it's not true. It doesn't happen that way. And the reason why it doesn't happen that way is because if you die tomorrow, your company has to replace you. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's never going to be a $1 billion corporation that shuts down because one of their best employees fucking dies. So the reality is that right there is all proof. Now, as a human being, you can't expect a multi-billion-dollar business to shut down just because somebody died. So what ends up happening is a business has to think business first. It doesn't mean treat your employees like shit, but it means you have to put business first. Which also means inevitably you are going to have people so fucking unhappy. WWE's morale has changed more than ever. There are people in WWE who are still fucking unhappy. AEW's morale has changed a lot. There's still people in AEW who are fucking unhappy. It's the way it is, naturally. And Tony Khan could do everything, or Triple H could do everything to try to make those unhappy people happy. But guess what? It's just a cycle. So there's going to be somebody else who is also legitimately unhappy. So you can't, bro. You can't sit there. You can't sit there and expect for companies to put employees over the business. It just doesn't happen. And the IWC has a really hard time understanding that because the IWC really wants to sit there and point, oh my God. Like, I need a fidget spinner. That's what I need. I need to buy a fidget spinner. But you can't expect companies to just drop everything to make one or two people happy. So the IWC thinks, oh, Karrion Kross is unhappy. Oh my God, Karrion Kross is unhappy. WWE is a piece of shit company. Bro, there's thousands of people that work there. And that's a hypothetical, of course. But I'm just saying, like, deep down inside, you really have to have this, this mindset where you have to have this mindset that no company is perfect. and you cannot put belief into companies, corporations. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to be disgruntled. Attitude Era was garbage, by the way. I don't know. Attitude Era had some good moments, but the Attitude Era wasn't that special. But maybe that's because I'm an adult. Maybe the fact that I'm an adult tells you why. Did I miss a super chat? Honestly, I don't even know. No, I read Direct Tube super chat. Okay, my bad. Did I like Michael Elgin back in the day? No, not really. Like, he was a good wrestler, but that doesn't matter to me. You can make the argument that the Attitude Era was only good because of the mid card, the main event scene. But even that, I mean, dude, go back and look at the Attitude Era and Vince McMahon. People were like, in 2018, 2019, all Vince McMahon does is rematches. No, that's what he was doing forever. Ruthless Aggression Era was way better than Attitude Era. Ruthless Aggression Era was Vince McMahon was historically a bad booker. Bad booker, smart businessman. I think Exit Life had a good comment. AEW was a failed attempt of reviving NXT Black and Gold. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Of course. Guys, Tony Khan didn't get into the wrestling business because he fucking loved pro wrestling. He obviously did love pro wrestling. He saw them WWE TV deals in 2018. It was like, I could do the same thing. Damn. Excuse me. Damn. That was crazy. I need some water. Water. I need water. Darth Bane dropped a super chat for $1.99. What did we think about WWE Raw last night? Shit was good. Move the stories forward. Oh no, I disappeared. Nah, I was just coughing. My throat got dry. Chat, that's what happens, bro. Let me go grab a water. I'll be right back. Yada I mean. I'm back. There I am. Got myself some nice spring water. You know how it is. D-RecTube dropped a $2 super chat. He says they gave Vince ideas. He tweaked them and made them better. Nah, Vince was not good, bro. All Vince did was he had some good stuff from here to there, but he was not that great of a booker. I'm sorry, bro. I think Vince McMahon as a booker and Tony Khan as a booker are kind of similar, to be honest. I know that sounds crazy, but I really do. I really do. I think they have a lot of similarities, honestly. Shout out to D-RecTube, by the way, for that $2 super chat. And shout out to Darth Bane earlier. What did I think of Raw? Let's get back to that. I thought Raw was good. I like how they're pushing stories forward. Honestly, I thought they were pushing stories forward, and that's what matters, bro. For me, it's episodic TV. Push the stories forward. If you can't push stories forward, it's hard to watch. I see people saying, oh, it's not that exciting. Well, I don't need it to be that exciting. I just need you to push the stories forward. So that's what Raw did. Raw was really good at pushing stories forward. I thought they did a really good job of I don't know. I thought they did a good job of just making me excited for the next thing, and yeah. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold on. There we go. There's some good stuff in the chat I'm going to address in a second. D-RecTube dropped a $2 super chat as well. Said Bronson should be taking everybody's shoes. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday on the stream last night. I said he should be the shoe collector. You got Mercedes Moné and, Mercedes Moné is the belt collector. Bronson Reed should be the shoe collector for sure. And I think that would be dope. The thing about the stealing the shoe thing is dope because it gives Bronson Reed something to like get over. You know what I mean? Everybody has something in that group that they're good at. Like Paul Heyman could obviously talk. Braun Breaker is an intense wrestler. Seth Rollins does it all. Bronson Reed is great, but he needed something to stand out. So stealing everybody's shoes was a cool thing, bro. Shout out to D-RecTube. Shark Attack 38 says, in short, if you had a wrestling company with real money behind it and a TV deal, how would you run it as far as balance of wrestling, booking, and storytelling? That's easy. All three would be perfect. There would be an emphasis on all three. Huh. What up, chat? Give me 1 second. Let's see. What do you think of the start of the storyline of Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch? I thought Becky cooked Nikki. I thought that was enjoyable. Honestly, I really did. I some people are offended because they think Becky went a little too far. I don't think that's an issue at all. I don't think it's an issue at all. You got to lean into Becky and Seth. For sure. Where is Austin Aries? Good question. I don't know. Controlling his narrative. I don't know. I really don't know. Austin Aries, man. That guy was something else. Is he still in MLW? I don't feel like I've seen him in MLW in a minute. Yeah, they're definitely planting a story between Lyra and Bailey. That's just a work in progress. Austin Aries is commentating MLW. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're getting Punk, LA Knight, and Seth. Roman, I feel it was written off of TV. Guys, we're almost at 100 likes. Can we make 100 likes possible? Is that a possibility? Yeah. Yeah, I might be wrong. But I think the cross stuff is work for sure. What is ahead for Punk? Greatness. Greatness, my friends. True Crime dropped a super chat. True Crime. True Flight 11, excuse me. Dropped $1.99. Hope there's a TNA invasion today on NXT. Yeah, that would be nice. I would like that for it to happen because tomorrow I'll be live at 12 p.m. talking about NXT. Honestly, I would like to see them do. I mean, they kind of tease something with Macklin and the Hardys and Leon Slater. I don't know what the hell is coming of that, but yeah. Yeah, they kind of tease something with it. I my bad. I'm a little distracted at the moment, but I do think they need. Damn it. Give me a second, guys. I'm sorry. My bad. The thing about the NXT TNA invasion for me that I'm like super geeked about, in my opinion, is like if they really do it full fledged, like really good. Like if they go really like put their best foot forward, I think it's gonna be really good. If they don't do that, I don't think it's gonna be really good. That's the problem. So they kind of tease something with it. We haven't really seen them do anything with it. It's like kind of a strange situation. I would like them to though, and I would like to think that they will, but who knows? Damn it. Shout out to True Flight 11, by the way, for that super chat. Come on, chat. Give me something to talk about, chat. Let's lock the fuck in. What do you guys want to talk about? I'm not talking about AEW Forbidden Door. Fuck that. I'm not talking about carrying cross either. I'm tired of talking about that too. Fuck that. I've said enough about carrying cross in the last 2 months, 3 months. Who wins the Fatal 4-Way tomorrow to go to Forbidden Door? I don't know, and I don't give a fuck. Shout out to Brian McCaddy in the chat. I see you, my man. Where will Cross be in a week? I don't want to talk about Karrion Kross. He resigned. I secretly believe he secretly resigned secretly. I don't believe he's leaving. We need more El Grande Americanos. 3 are not enough. Omos and Carmelo Hayes would make great Americanos. Yes, more El Grande Americanos. I agree. Ango should be a special guest on Cody Rhodes' podcast. I agree. I definitely agree. That'd be fun to chop it up with Cody. All right. Dark Shadow, can you confirm if you are... Oh, Dark Shadow, you can't trick me. You can't trick me, buddy. I know who you are. AEW, Ango needs to be on the post show, not Sam. Yo, no Sam Roberts slander, dude. He's good. Me and Sam Roberts would be good. I think that'd be fun. Tolino channel dropping 100 rupees. He says, will TNA go to CW? If so, maybe NXT episode can give continuity to TNA and attract viewers on TNA. Yeah, I think it's a possibility. I think, we'll see when it's officially announced, but TNA on the CW would really, really be crazy. If TNA gets on the CW, I think there's a good chance that we're looking at TNA being very close to AEW numbers. The thing about TNA and NXT having that synergy, I mean, it definitely helps TNA for sure. But I think TNA would be really close to AEW numbers if they got on the CW for sure. I think if they got to close to the CW numbers, like that right there is like huge. It changes a lot for them. Woo! I'm giving you guys clips, baby. The thing about TNA, CW, WWE is TNA would go live every week for 52 weeks a year. I think it would be inevitable that AEW would also... I think AEW would move Collision permanently to Thursdays to compete with them. And then I think you would see WWE help out TNA even more. Honestly. A lot of people who don't believe me or don't agree with me, AEW would definitely counter-program TNA. Tony Khan's not dumb. You could see it from a mile away. WWE would absolutely try to help them. Shout out to Tolino Channel for the super chat, by the way. Thank you, bro. Where's Billy? Billy is backstage at AEW writing the worst storyline ever. No, I'm kidding. Billy and I have different schedules, so Billy's kind of like when he could come on, he could come on. When he can't, he can't. That's where Billy is. I addressed it yesterday's live stream, but yeah. Yeah, Billy was streaming. He does watch-alongs, guys. He does watch-alongs. He does retro watch-alongs now. He's doing good stuff. I'm proud of him. Cool. We're at an hour 15. That was kind of a fun stream. It was kind of like how do I explain it? Just chill, relaxed, you know. I'm going to get some more clips. I'm going to get my clips out. I'm going to get some videos out. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll talk NXT. That should be fun. And then, yeah. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Shout out to DRecTube, Tolino Channel, True Flight, Darth Bane. Thank you guys for your super chats. I do appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll have fun. I'll have more videos out for you guys later today as well, so stay tuned for that. And then, yeah, man. Definitely stay tuned for that because we're going to have more content on the way. Appreciate y'all. I'll see you guys next time.